morning, Rob T signing here. Today's topic or today's caption is really how to access developments or how to do developments in the property sector. So this question was posed to me and I had to do a lot of thinking about it in order to come to a precise conclusion of this matter. The first question that was asked to me by a random individual in real estate was, where did you get the money from to actually start your developments? Did you have money saved? Did you remortgage your property? Did you have angel investors? Did you have crowdfunding? Did you have whatever means? And I actually started thinking about where we access capital, So as an individual and as somebody who's in the property sector, somebody who's in the development space, my thinking was, where do we actually get the money to actually do this? Let's take a simple example. Property or land being sold that can be acquired. Let's take, for example, 500 square meters of land that you buy for an amount of, let's say, 500,000, depending where it is that you're buying it. Okay, so obviously if you're buying for 500,000, you're buying in an upmarket place. Okay, if you are in the entrepreneur, the best way to convince another investor, whatever, crowdfunding, is to actually show that you're putting your money into the project. But here's the catch-22. You see the opportunity, you understand the opportunity, you're like, okay, fine, I understand and know that I need to put money of my own. What happens if you don't? I had a simple answer for this person, and the answer was your credit score. Okay, so in time to come, I'm going to talk a lot about BRI and actually just unpack what I think BRI is and how it worked for me as an entrepreneur in the property space. So a lot of the people think that the means to get money is through somebody else. Not really. If you think about it, banks are very eager, if I may, to fund property, big portfolios, if I may. So one can go about acquiring land through using their credit profile. Okay, so credit profile is now obviously looking at your bureaus, your credit bureaus, Experience, TransUnion. This is basically a conduct of how the individual conducts their personal business, and in a monitored and in a structured way. So the banks then the bureau then gives you a score according to how you conduct your financial affairs. Okay, that is for me the simplest way to actually access capital, because the bank does not say, well, we like you, or whatever it is. The bank looks at your credit score and they say, okay, fine, based on your credit score, we can give you X amount. Okay, one vacant land, of course, the banks are not going to give you 100%. Depending on how you're acquiring the land. If you're acquiring the land as just vacant land, certainly the different banks have different criteria. So you could be looking at about obtaining 75% of it, and then obviously, or 70% of it, and then putting a deposit. So back to the question, where do we get the money from to start these developments? So perhaps maybe we start with the element of saving. Yeah? We start with the element of saving, because if we don't have any money saved or don't have any capital of our own, how do we get this ball rolling? But let's go back to it. Go to the bank as a realtor. You've made a few deals. You structure the deal with your principal that they pay you money on a monthly basis. You generate basically what it is that you want. You go to the bank. You apply for the credit. You now have the land. The land is in your name. Okay. But that means you've got now a land that you need to service on a monthly basis with regards to your monthly installment. Okay, that is now an interesting story, because you've added now an expense onto your monthly structure or your monthly finances, your monthly budget. So now you are thinking, okay, what do I do next? Now you need the money to build. That is the point where you can approach external people. That is the point where you can then approach finances, your angel investors, and your crowdfunding and say, listen, I've got the land. The land is in my name and I'm intending to do X, Y, and Z. So remember, Rome wasn't built overnight. And if you are intending to go into the development space and you say, I want to start, for me, that is the easiest and best way for you to start, is to do one. Of course, before you get this process started, do your research, do your research, do your budget, make sure you're working with people that are well experienced in the field, instead of you trying to do it yourself. Get advice, speak to relevant people, speak to your surveyor general, speak to your builder, speak to your quantity surveyor. Make sure that your things are in order before. Obviously, I'm pitching now the simplicity of the matter in terms of how it can be done. And then you get a contractor who can build for you. You can use the investor's money, or alternatively, you switch this whole thing around. Get a buyer first, so acquire the land, advertise it out as a plot and plan project, get a buyer, get the client to then do the bond application. Once that is done, then you can draw money from the bank through progress payments. That's a different structure altogether. But remember, with the progress payments, you still need the money up front to start the building, because the bank will give you progress payments according to what it is that you've done. So your foundation level, your window level, your roof level, and so on. So if you haven't even reached that level, well, the idea is, number one, identify the opportunity. Number two, make sure that when the opportunity has been identified, you've got some form of capital to get the process started. So BRI is also another indicator that I say works for individual. So the BRI term basically stands for behavioral risk indicator. So people will look at behavioral risk indicators as your behavior. So if I've known you for a few years and I know that you're quite a responsible person, and you come to me and you say, T, can you help me with this, whatever. This is in my investment capacity, by the way. I need to do X, Y, and Z and whatever, and the opportunity seems good. I won't say to you, let's do a credit check. I'm going to think back on how I know you, the road we've taken, and I'm going to determine if your behavior is risky. So your behavioral risk indicator will determine to me, or will basically influence me in the decision I make to do business with you or not to do business with you as a result of your behavior. So the behavioral risk indicator, we could say this is our session one of addressing this behavioral risk indicator that we can basically look at and say, amongst the people that you know, amongst your friends, amongst your family, your close circles, your behavior, your BRI, what does it show them? Are you trustworthy? Can they basically go out on a limb for you with regards to what you want to do? The question remains with you. Rob T signing out on BRI session 1, and access to market, and access to doing development, and access to starting and building wealth in the real estate sector. Signing out.